So we'll just go with the smaller one, this one here, the card spawn, and we'll move that to our actions. And we want 3 of them this time. Okay, and we also want to change these tags to the corresponding different mobs. And lastly, second last, we want to chuck in a bunch of these as well. 3 of them. And we also want to add in our timer start. As you can see, this one's a bit longer than the last one, and what it does is a bit more complex. We want to make sure we change our checkpoint go-tos as well to correspond to the different mobs. Okay, I'll run you through this one now. Excuse me. Okay. In the event that the player is within range of a building called mob spawn building, and the timer has elapsed on expert, this is depending on our statement up here. We'll just go with the expert as the example. So, and the timer has passed 10 seconds, and all 3 mobs that we spawn are dead. You want to make sure you have this statement in there, otherwise you will be spawning mobs that already exist on the map, and you will crash your map and Battleforge. Okay, given all those things are true, we will spawn 3 units, as you can see just here. These 3 units will all be the same, as they have the same squad ID, which is up here. As you can see, it's 1 unit for standard and a different unit for advanced and expert. After it spawns these 3 units, it will tell them to go to a group of checkpoints. So basically just wander around the map wherever I tell them to go. And lastly, I will restart the timer, so we are back to 0 on our timer, and then in 15 seconds time this condition will be true, and it will need to wait till all 3 mobs are dead, and to make sure that the player is in this range as well, and then it will run through the actions again. There's our OnEvent done. The next one is an OnToggleEvent. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do as an example for this one. Let's have a look at what we have over here. OnToggleEvent. The easiest one to do for an OnToggleEvent is probably this one here. So this one's going to go off a flag, and also going to go off something else. So our on conditions for this event is the flag is true, and our off conditions is the flag is false. We also want to check that, just grab the code for that, that our 2 mobs that we're going to be spawning are dead. So on conditions, the switch is on and both the squads are dead. Okay, we'll grab this code here. We'll move that down to our on actions. And we also want to chuck a timer in here so we don't keep... actually, we don't need the timer, do we? No, we don't need a timer, whatever. Okay, let's see what we have here. This is an OnToggleEvent, so our on conditions for this are the event is switched on and both the units that we spawn are dead. The off conditions is the event is off. So an example for an on-off event would be a boss is alive and the player is within 100 range of that boss. We'll turn the switch on. Okay? For our on actions, we will spawn 2 mobs. These mobs will not spawn again until they die, but when they die, they will spawn straight away given the switch is on. Our off conditions are nothing. So there's no spawning or anything. You could put something else in here, like when the boss spawns 2 units, then the boss will, and those 2 units die, then the boss will gain an ability or something. You could add a timer into this section here, so you could limit the amount of spawns. So the flag is true, the 2 mobs are dead, and 90 seconds has passed since the last spawn, which would be one of these with a 90 seconds in here. And that way you can limit the amount of spawns you have coming. That way you don't get them one after the other. You have a little gap depending on how you actually do your timer for this section. The last one I have here is an OnIntervalEvent. This is a reoccurring event, and I normally actually don't use minutes, so I'll get rid of that. I just use like 120 seconds, which is 2 minutes, obviously. For my conditions for this one, I'm going to use... I know what I'm going to use for this one. I will use squad is dead. This is an interesting one to use. Okay, we're going to spawn 2 mobs every 120 seconds, and we'll just grab the spawn code just here. There are actions. Okay, this one is a bit more simplified than our previous spawn script up here, which used the timer has elapsed section. We're gonna do this one a little differently. You could also I'll just grab it anyway. I'll grab this 2 bits of code. Okay, for our OnIntervalEvent, here's how it runs. Every 120 seconds since the start of the map, so the map starts, then 120 seconds, and then 240 after that, and then 360, and so on and so on. Every 120 seconds, it checks to see if both the mobs we spawn are dead. If the mobs we spawn are dead, then it will respawn them, and it will send them to a path. And yeah, that's the OnIntervalEvent spawning. That pretty much covers all the different types of